Take me home, country roads to the place.
Good morning and happy game day. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. Of course, presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by my passenger princess, Senor Rubis. And we've got the deli man behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. I hope everybody is tuned in with a tequila sunrise or a Bloody Mary and getting ready for some breakfast W's because we're about a half hour from kickoff between Arizona State and West Virginia. Arizona State, a lot on the line, still a lot to play for, despite not having the best chance in the world to go back-to-back in terms of reaching the 2025 Big 12 championship. But, Rubis, there is still a chance, and it starts today against West Virginia. Can't go 3-0 if you don't go 1-0.
What's up with these morning games, huh? 2 in a row? What's up with that?
I'll take it. I'm a big believer in morning football.
Fair enough. I mean, I am too. It just feels weird. Usually it's like, got to be like a 9 o'clock kickoff, honestly. Like, let's get real gross with it. No, I am excited for today because this is an Arizona State team that still has a lot to play for and has a lot on the line. I'm excited to see how they look schematically coming off of a bye week. Obviously, no Sam Leavitt, no Jordan Tyson. Those are your two best offensive players. Those are your two offensive engines. Those guys are out the same way that they were out against Iowa State as well when you're on the road against a better team and picked up a win. Do you look like the same team? Is that successful? And if it's not, what counters do you have? I'm excited to see what the offense, and then honestly, if this defense can just have such a dominant game that it doesn't even matter.
That the defense just owns it.
Yeah,
defense
they might.
Just wins the ball game.
They might, man. Like that's how good this defense is.
No, you're 100% hit the nail on the head there. We went over our position rankings just the other day on Friday's show in terms of who's getting the edge and where. Let's go ahead and revisit that. Despite not having Sam Leavitt out there, still gave the edge to ASU at quarterback, also gave the edge at running back. But Erik, in terms of pass catchers in the offensive line, I feel like this one is it's pretty even, especially without another game without Jordan Tyson. And then, of course, we know the ASU offensive line continues to shuffle new guys up front.
Yeah, I know those two are even, but really what I look at is the running backs because this is a West Virginia team that will run the ball. The numbers prove it. You watch a West Virginia game, your eye test proves it as well. I do think Arizona State has better running backs, but winning the ground game with Jeff Sims, with Raleek Brown, with whichever other running back maybe gets one snap today, like that is a really important part of this because West Virginia is going to be one of the better running teams that you've faced all year and statistically one of the better ones in the Big 12. So I think it's good that ASU has that edge, but again, that doesn't mean that West Virginia is inept at that position group.
Agreed. And then you look on the defensive side of the ball and the edge goes to Arizona State everywhere on that defense, all three phases from the D-line to the linebackers, run stopping, pass coverage, etc. Arizona State, I think, with a clear advantage defensively against this West Virginia offense. And then we know West Virginia's defense doesn't really scare me. I don't know if it scares you. West Virginia, the defense in and of itself has been pretty piss poor all year long. The only defenses that I can think of off the top of my head that have been worse in this conference have been Oklahoma State. And they've just been, I'm surprised they're even playing football games anymore at this point. And then Colorado, where it's 50 burger after 50 burger for the opposing offenses. Now, special teams is where I do give the advantage to West Virginia. I liked what I saw a little bit against Iowa State. I think it was improvement from what we had seen in previous weeks with Charlie Regal running the show. You have Jack Nudo doing it now. I'm interested to see with another 2 full weeks with him kind of running special teams, if that can be improved. And then in terms of coaching, Erik, I think it's pretty clear here. Kenny Dillingham and company, they got the edge when it comes to coaching.
Well, and they need to, especially in this game, because look, man, you look at the matchup battles, you look at the line, you look at the records of these teams, and it's, Arizona State should absolutely win today. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No excuses. No, oh, you don't have Sam Levitt, you don't have Jordan Tyson, you don't have Ben Coleman. None of that. ASU should win this game today. But West Virginia has, in the last 2 weeks, won a game they had no business winning on the road against a team that just beat ASU in Houston. Then they kind of struggle against a Colorado team, beat them by 7 points and put up less than 30 against a Colorado team that was averaging 50 plus being put up on their defense the 2 weeks prior. So they still won, though. I mean, those are their only 2 conference wins, but they have come in back-to-back weeks. Everything on paper points to ASU being a superior team because, quite frankly, they are. But that's not how football works. It was the same way opposite against Texas Tech. Obviously not as big of a gap. Those were at that point 2 very good teams. But it was on paper, Texas Tech should absolutely beat ASU the way that those 2 teams were playing going into a couple of weeks ago. And what happened? You played the game and a couple miraculous performances here and there, a defense stepping up and doing what nobody else had done against Texas Tech so far that year, and Arizona State walks away the victor. You've got to stay alert and understand that this is a team that has nothing to lose. This is a team that's not only not supposed to win, but hell, they're riding off 2 games in a row. And I guess if they win today, they technically still stay alive for bowl eligibility, as weird as that sounds. Now, they run into Texas Tech next week, or after a bye week, so that's not looking too great for them. But it is a cornered dog, and a cornered dog bites. Do not get bit, and do not let the dog win.
ASU is not the dog in this scenario,
They're the dogs. But right now, West Virginia is a cornered dog.
Yeah, don't get bit by the cornered puppy, if you will.
There you go. Yeah, the puppy.
I don't even think, and I said this on Friday's show, you don't need to play the full game, Erik, because we've got the cards are in, or the script's in. We know exactly how this one shakes out after halftime. Okay. Arizona State, when leading at halftime, has won 14 straight games. That is the second longest streak in the Big 12. The longest streak in the Big 12 belongs actually to West Virginia, who has won 15 straight games when leading at halftime. So whoever is winning at halftime is going to win the football game. I think it's pretty simple. It's pretty clear. All you got to do is play 2 quarters of football, and that's it. We can get out of here.
That's crazy. I didn't get to catch Friday's show. I was too busy beating another media member one-on-one in basketball. But I saw that you tweeted that, and I saw that you said whoever will be up at halftime will win, and I'm like, that's an interesting take. I think ASU could definitely win if they're somehow down at the half. How can you look at West Virginia's record? I mean, it's probably just a lot less of a quantity, right? Yeah. Like how many games they're up at half.
It's not consecutive games, right? It's not like they've won consecutive games, but it's like, again, anytime when they're up, they know how to play with a lead.
That's
at
crazy.
Least they have over the last 15 games. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is that's been beyond this season too. But this game specifically, you and I talked about it on Wednesday, where if West Virginia gets a little juice, gets a little momentum, not only can they prove that they've won past halftime, they beat a good team on the road by striking early, and then Houston's playing catch up, and Houston doesn't have the passing attack, that a lot of other teams in this conference have, but they have a better one than ASU, presumably with Jeff Sims. So running the ball when you're down 14, 5 minutes into the game, isn't always a recipe for success for the team that's down. So West Virginia definitely has a play style that lends itself to that, but that's still an incredible stat. I'd like to know how many games they've been leading at halftime.
Probably not a ton. It's West Virginia. It's I don't know. I do know one thing though, and that's that Arizona State plays well at home. Of course, their last home game was an L to Houston. Prior to that, though, the Arizona State Sun Devils haven't lost at Mountain America Stadium since going back to Kenny Dillingham's first season at the helm in 2023. Another sellout today at Mountain America Stadium. Count it. That makes 6 straight home sellouts, with the lone game left on the schedule being the Arizona Wildcats, of course, the Territorial Cup. So you got to tip your cap, your Branded Bills cap, of course, to the Arizona State fan base for showing up, showing out, and continuing to sell out those home games regardless of what's still at stake for the Sun Devils. I think that shows a lot of progress with where this program has come from and where it's headed. So you got to give a lot of love to the fan base on that one. But again, like, if you want to continue to do those types of things, you got to win these types of games. The games where you show up and you're the heavy favorite and you just take care of business, regardless of who is playing quarterback, regardless of who you regardless of who you have out there in terms of skill guys, defensively. You got to take care of business at home.
You have to. I mean, you owe it to these fans, right? Now, big shout out to the fans. Nobody technically is forced to spend their Saturday at Mount America Stadium, but it's become a great environment. And this team has to be better that home streak ended against Houston. And not just that it ended, but how it ended. And we have to leave the games a little bit earlier than we would like to get back to the studio, obviously, and do our shows. So it's interesting to see how many people are leaving who don't have shows to do sometimes.
I mean, we don't know that they don't have shows.
Fair. If you got a show, let us know. But I think that Houston game was the one game all season that I saw the most people leave, right? Because you're scoreless going into halftime and the vibes were just not high. And I think,
for sure.
I think this team's got to take that personally, and I think they will. They've had a lot of time to kind of sit and think on it. They got a big win, but it was on the road. Now they've had a bye week. They haven't played in front of this home crowd in quite some time. I think they're going to be shot out of a cannon to start the game. I can't wait. I'm assuming, like they usually do, the defense is going to somehow find a way to start the game. And I am so excited to see what this defense looks like right off the bat, because I think if they do something crazy, which they might, Mount America is going to blow the roof that is no longer on it completely off, man. It's going to be crazy.
It's definitely going to be one hell of an environment when that defense does roll out there. But how does Arizona State get to their 7th win of the 2025 regular season? Well, these are our SPAR keys to victory for the Sun Devils. Starting with key 1, it's very simple. Just win first down. That is all you got to do here. Rubus, you talked earlier about how West Virginia, they love the ground game. They're committed to running the football. Well, if you win first down, 1st and 10, and you set them up where it's 2nd and long, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8 even, and you really start to take away what West Virginia has as an offensive weapon, because I'm sorry, you're not scared of what they do through the air, and you force them possession after possession to have to think about what they're going to be doing on 2nd and 3rd down. Make them really test if West Virginia is committed to the ground game. If you're able to win first down, sets you up perfectly. You're ahead of the sticks the rest of the way defensively. I think that's part of where this game is going to be won or lost, both offensively and defensively for Arizona State.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I maybe focus on the offensive end a little bit more, just because I think your offensive unit is just a little bit more limited. And when your offensive unit is limited, winning that first down is critical. It's key. I'd like to see a lot of running plays on first down. Obviously, you can't do it every single time, but I'd like to see a lot of get 2-3 yards and then you got something to cook with, because that's just a momentum thing. This team, when you lose your star players, you have a lot less that you can give up on the margins. And winning first down is a very big margin in all football games. So on both sides of the ball, I think that's very key later today.
And you got to be able to take what they give you. That is our second SPAR key to victory. Is I said it on Wednesday's show. I think I echoed it on Friday. There are some games that you point to on the schedule and you go in and you know, hey, it might take a little extra. It might take a little extra juice. It may take some serious creativity to crack some explosives. And do X, Y, and Z, right, to exploit offenses, defenses, whatever. That's not the case against West Virginia in my eyes. West Virginia offensively is mid. West Virginia defensively is below mid. It shouldn't take a Herculean effort to beat the West Virginia Mountaineers at your home stadium. It just shouldn't, especially with you fresh off of a bye. Before that, you went to Iowa State and you beat them around. For this game, You just got to take what they give you. Offensively, I don't need Jeff Sims hurling 50-yard dimes. Would it be great? Absolutely. That's not what it's going to take, though, to get this. It's not required to win this football game. For me, it's as simple as, hey, I'm going to go through my progressions if I'm Jeff Sims. If I don't like it, I'm checking it down, and we're going to just go from there. Same thing in the ground game. I don't need every single run to go for a 50-yard touchdown. Again, just take what they give you, and I think that will be enough of a recipe to win this game because we've seen it in just about every other West Virginia game this season. They'll find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. You just have to be around long enough to let them fire that gun.
Yeah. I mean, and you've got to not let them get comfortable, right? And then they're not giving you as much as maybe they would if they're uncomfortable, right? Again, a quick start maybe is not on the Spark keys to the game, but that's Erik's keys to the game is start quick, and then maybe they start giving you a little bit more than they would have before, and then you could take advantage of that and let it snowball from there.
And that's something that they've struggled to do all year is start off quick, right? This is a team in Arizona State that feels like they've got weights tied to their ankles for the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game. And it cost them early, right? Early in the season against Baylor, TCU, they were staring down some early deficits and found ways to claw back. Not that you can't claw back if you're down against West Virginia, but there's really no excuse to be down early against this team coming off a bye. You're the better team. You've had, extra time to prepare for this game. No reason that you shouldn't be able to start quick. But the final key to victory that we've got here goes back to QB1 in this case, and that's Jeff Sims. You got to let Jeff be Jeff. Let Jeff cook. You saw what happened against Iowa State when you utilized Jeff's talent and his skill set the right way and let him run the show and be the offense. Against Utah this year, against Cincinnati last year, didn't look good. But I would make the argument that they didn't let Jeff be his best version of himself in those games. We saw what he can do against Iowa State. No reason to reinvent the wheel against West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they won, and that was a big reason why he looked so good, is because they put him in the best position he's probably ever been in college to be a successful player, right? Don't get him out of his comfort zone and don't put him in these situations where he has to do things that maybe take a couple extra milliseconds to kind of think and maybe doubt, right? And when you look at some of those turnovers that he had against Iowa State as well, I'd say at least one of them was you put Jeff in a position to where you shouldn't be doing that with Jeff Sims because it's not his strength. So focus on the strengths. I think Marcus Arroyo did a really good job of that against Iowa State. Keep that momentum going. Don't get cute. Get serious. Let Jeff Sims run the ball a ton again, right? Like this is his last year in college, right? Like leave it all out there. Let him run. Let him go wild. Let him be Jeff.
Let Jeff be Jeff. Let the Stallion just run wild.
Jeff the Stallion.
Jeff the Stout. This is Jeff Sims' first game that he is starting at Mountain America Stadium as a Sun Devil. His 3 previous starts have all been on the road. So very interested to see what he looks like, maybe in potentially a more comfortable environment at home at Mountain America Stadium. And I think him alongside some of his skill guys, they can have a big day offensively, depending on what the overall game plan is from Marcus Arroyo. Quick hitter here, since you weren't on Friday's show. Just want to get your thoughts on what we had for our Heat Index this week. Of course, Heat Index is 3 individuals that need to go out and have a big game ultimately for the Sun Devils to get the job done. Marcus Arroyo, of course, the ASU OC. Shimon Mateer at tight end. And then we repeated what we did against, I believe, Iowa State. The entire offensive line for me needs to have a day. Protect QB1 at home in this environment, regardless of who's out there. Any disagreements or any added thoughts on those 3?
Once again, Anthony Totri, you've totally nailed it. Wow, just incredible. No, my first thought is Marcus Arroyo looks a little like Cliff Kingsbury there. But other than that, I think Marcus is definitely somebody that you're going to be relying on because he did such a good job against Iowa State and that was so effective. But now, look, that's a lot of film on what you're doing with Jeff Sims for a really well-coached Rich Rod team who, again, is riding the best momentum they've had probably in the last 2 years. right? Which is 2 straight wins.
Two straight games.
Right. But a fact is a fact. And, if Marcus can continue to find ways to utilize him and get the most out of him, but that aren't repetitive and aren't predictable, that's really big. A big part of that is Shaman, right? Jeff and Shaman have a connection back to where they're from in Florida. The Florida boys, I mean, they really do vibe with each other off the field. And we've seen on the field that number one target, it looks like, is Shaman. Shaman continues to be the security blanket. And as much as we want to see deep balls to Malik McClain and Jaron Hamilton and even a little bit to Jalen Moss, keeping them honest through Shaman in the middle ground area is going to be really important. And then, look, man, you're talking about the offensive line that won Big 12 Beef of the Week against Iowa State, which I don't think any of us would have predicted. If they can emulate that and allow the play calling to still focus on running and Jeff Sims running, that's just as key as anything. So I think you nailed it with those 3.
Agreed. So we've got players that need
You agree that you nailed it?
I agree. I agree that I nailed it.
There you go.
So we've got 3 individuals, or I guess just 3 Sun Devils, that need to have big games. But who's going to be the difference maker? Who is going to be the X factor? Who do you got, Rubus? This and your X factors. I mean, they are.
No, we've changed the narrative. Okay.
What's the narrative now?
The narrative now is that they don't suck. All right.
Okay.
Shaman had one of his best career games, and I picked him as an X factor. Malik had a good game when I picked him as an X factor. We don't need to talk about everybody else, but look, it tides are turning. Okay.
Perfect.
The tides are turning.
That's why I'm amped to see who you got here.
It's Raleek Brown. Look, I think that getting to now 20 minutes into this pregame show, we need to take some time and talk about Raleek Brown, who is my X factor for today. Talking with Ralph while you were gone, Totri, he pointed out that with how West Virginia plays defense and the type of linebackers that they have, the way that Raleek runs, which is outside of the tackles and running a little bit more east to west instead of north to south, is actually going to be pretty effective against this West Virginia defense. Obviously, that's something that has maybe taken him out of some games to not just turn up field and get maybe the 4 or 5 yards where if you're trying to get it up the gut. So if Raleek can use that speed and keep them true on the outside and then let Jeff Sims run through the tackles through the middle, that is a really, really good combination of a run game that Arizona State can have against West Virginia. Plus, I think him in the passing game as well is going to be really interesting to watch. So he had a couple that he missed against Iowa State and that maybe he was missed on as well. This could be the Raleek Brown game we've been waiting quite a bit to see again. And I think that he has the opportunity to do it against West Virginia in just a couple of minutes.
We started the year with triplets, man. Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson, Raleek Brown. Raleek Brown's the only triplet left alive.
Sad.
So you are going to need this guy to do a lot offensively. I love the idea of really getting him going outside the tackles, getting him involved in the passing game as well. I think he is such a threat all over the field. So just get him the ball. Didn't love, and I haven't really loved his usage over the last 2 games, specifically looking at Iowa State, then of course Houston. Just feed him the rock, man. He's somebody that I think gets better as the game goes on. He develops a little bit more of a rhythm. So I would love to see him really, really get a fair workload today against West Virginia. But I'm going with the security blanket as my X factor. I think Shimon Mateer, as long as Jordan Tyson is still out, he is, in my eyes, the only offensive pass catcher that has proven to be consistent game in, game out in terms of being able to produce, not just as a pass catcher, but also along the offensive line as somebody who has been a stout run blocker here in 2025 as well. So I think you're going to need to get everything possible out of Shimon if you're going to win this ball game. And again, Jeff, depending on how much time he's going to have from the offensive line, could be looking to Shimon more often than not. So definitely get Shimon activated early in this game, but I love the answer of Raleek Brown as an X factor. So all of this said, Raleek, Shimon, heat index, our positional rankings, etc. I think it's now fitting with kickoff just around the corner to get into our predictions here. It's not often that either one of us has predicted Arizona State to lose, let alone predicted them to lose At the same time, and Rubus, it's another week where neither one of us has the Sun Devils dropping this one.
We both got them scoring 31. I'm much less confident in the ASU defense, though. I have them giving up 17 points to your 14 points. But I think that this is a game where ASU gets up early. I think West Virginia maybe comes out in the second half and has maybe a drive or two where they put together some scores. And then ASU scores again. And then like a late field goal for West Virginia is maybe the difference between what you have the score as and what I have the score as. But look, it doesn't matter what we predict the score to be. They got to go out there and play the damn football game, Totri. I'm excited to watch them play. I'm confident that they're going to win, but at the end of the day, they have to. Like that is not a negotiable. They have to win today.
Absolutely. They have to win. You've got them 31-17. I've got them 31-14. I think they win this one pretty handedly. I feel good about what this Arizona State defense is going to be matched up against. In terms of West Virginia's offense. Again, I think the coaching is a massive advantage that Arizona State has here. And Jeff Sims, there's no reason he can't be or shouldn't be even more comfortable this week than he was 2 weeks ago against Iowa State. Guys, head to the comments. Let us know what you think in terms of a score prediction. I know the Deli Man on Friday said he has 24-13 in favor of Arizona State. He's got this one being a little bit of a grosser game. But I think, again, across the board, none of us have West Virginia scoring more than 2 total touchdowns. Of course, you have the field goal. But in terms of finding the actual end zone, neither one of us, or none of us, I should say, feels like West Virginia is going to really be able to take advantage of what Arizona State does defensively. Must-win ball game. You have to go out there, and you have to take care of business at home. I said it on Friday, being 7-3 is a lot better than being 6-4. Regardless of what your chances are of making the Big 12 championship game, you could still improve which bowl game you go to at the end of the year as well. So all eyes here in the next couple minutes are on what Arizona State is going to do at home against West Virginia. That is going to do it for the PHNX Sun Devils pregame show. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review, wherever you get your podcast. Of course, after the game, we will be in studio for a PHNX Sun Devils post-game show. So go ahead, open up another tab on your computer, your TV, whatever you're watching us on, and get ready for a post-game show following Arizona State and West Virginia. If you enjoyed the pregame content and want some more, give the show a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Jose Perez at Erik Ruby. That's Erik with a K. You can follow the Deli Man at Shane Dief.
W's as always.
And we will see you guys for a post-game show. In the meantime, go Devils. In peace.
We all silly like the mayor.